Entitled for thinking children that work for family businesses shouldn't get paid. Thoughts? So at dinner my parent told me I am entitled for believing that children who have to work in a family business should get paid for their work. Of course their argument was that they get food and a house over their head. If a family business can't pay even the family workers, then it probably shouldn't be in business. All workers should be paid adequately, right? My dad had a used car lot. I had to work every Saturday starting around age 10. I recall negotiating my wage. Went from $5 a week to $10. As I got older, moved up to $20. I was ballin' in my mind. I grew up in a family business restaurant, and I always got paid for my work. When I was very young, that pay was something like a soda in exchange for breaking down boxes and recycling them. When I was old enough to go on the schedule, I got minimum wage, plus any overtime and tips, just like a regular employee. The only difference was that certain hours of work restrictions didn't apply to me, and when my grades slipped my parents took me off the schedule. I already hated working food service, and I'll never go back. I can't imagine how miserable and unmotivated I'd be if room and board were my compensation. Worked on my grandpa's ranch whenever I wasn't in school and never getting paid and being treated like I should be grateful to them for the shit sandwiches they'd give me isn't the whole reason I hate my extended family, but it's a big part of it. Edit. They were convinced they were building character and teaching my life lessons, and they did. Just none of the lessons they thought they were teaching me. I work for a small family-owned business with my dad. Oddly, he doesn't own it yet. A different family currently runs it. They pay the child that works there almost as much as they pay themselves. 6 figures easy. As well as my dad. I was lied to about what I would start at. I was lied to about bonuses. And I have been lied to about upward movement when he buys the place. Never work for family. It only makes relationships worse in the end. Even if everyone can fake it for a while. Edit. Holy crap. This blew up while I was asleep. Thank you guys so much. Food and a roof over their heads isn't pay. It's the responsibility of a parent. Kids are entitled to that for no work. Isn't food and shelter a legal requirement of a parent? And isn't working for free against the law? Something about slavery and indentured servitude? Just spitballing, of course. My parents used to make us work on the job sites when we were little kids in exchange for lunch at a fast food place. We didn't get paid for chores or anything like that. But if we got good grades on our report cards, we would get paid like $5 per A, 3 per B, 0 per C, 5 per D, and get grounded for an F. This is prevalent because after the recession hit, we would also owe our parents money for the fast food while we were working. Our parents would square up for the money we owed them by taking our report card money, sometimes in advance. One of my siblings did horrible in school, had a learning disability that they were well aware of, and would owe my parents money from both the report card and lunch. They could get out of the debt by working extra for my parents. I have only talked to my parents once since I've moved out of the house, and honestly that was part of the reason why. At least their business is doing really well and they can retire early, but they lost speaking to their kids in the process. In my work in higher ed, I have encountered many young people who are doing significant amounts of unpaid work for family businesses, often so much that it interferes with their ability to keep up with classes. It's not a great situation. I never know what to tell them. The entitled one is the person who expects free labor or thinks that feeding their own child is payment for work done and not a base requirement of being a parent. Your parents don't deserve respect just because they birthed you. Treat others how you wish to be treated. If they can't pay due to financial hardships, they can ask for assistance and you get to decide if you want to help. Why would any parent want their kid to work probably with little motivation or quality work? Plus it gets them to resent you. At least motivate them with some incentives. My dad didn't pay me much, but I had enough to go to the movies with friends. My mother had a family business and my payment for working 40+ hours a week, after school and all day over the weekends, was food at home and a place to live. They wondered why I found other employment when I turned 16 and got my license. 100% they should always get paid. I have taken my children to work sites for end-of-job cleanup and stuff, and I always paid them. Just like any other employee, I want my kids to learn. I set clear expectations of what they're supposed to do and what not to do. I always make sure they have all their PPE and they're not afraid to ask questions. It's best to teach them as soon as possible, I think. Slowly they work their way up the ladder just like everyone else as they prove they're responsible enough. I'm even sure there's been a few days the kid made more money than I did. Food and shelter are the bare minimum for a child. If they can't provide that, then they are failures as parents. Also, they sound the type to start charging rent the second their kid turns 18. Every single person performing work that increases profits for a company, family, etc. should be paid for doing so. Very entitled opinion. Imagine instead of wanting your kids to be better off for their hard work, wanting them to learn the value of earning a fair wage, and understanding that they didn't ask to be brought into the world. You brought the world and should support them getting a good start in life. Instead, thinking your kids owe you and should work for free for years in your for-profit business. Isn't that great when people by choice bring a child into the world and act like the kid owes them something? My daughter wants to work with me this summer doing photography. So I bought her a good camera and told her any fees we get for shooting the day are hers, along with any profit from her photos that sell. It's only fair. If she's doing the work, she gets paid. Boomer logic as workhouse logic. If I got paid for running my parents' business and being their full-time nanny, I wouldn't have needed to take out student loans. I dated a guy who was made to work from after school until late evening helping his mom and stepdad run someone else's bar. He understandably holds a lot of resentment over that. I wouldn't do that to anyone's kid.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.